Hi and hello everyone. Greetings to all. This is Father Ramesh and I welcome you all very cordially to the classes on general psychology and social psychology. And for all these classes, as you see on the board, there are names of the books as well as the authors. General Psychology by S.K. Mangal, one book. Same thing, another book by Henry E. Garrett. Yet another book, An Introduction to General Psychology by B. Kuppuswamy. These are the sources for the classes and also online search, updating the knowledge on the basing on the online search, the source is available. Now, we enter into the first unit of psychology, general psychology. In fact, today we see there is a great demand, great longing for learning psychology. Every year, colleges are packed with the newcomers for subject psychology. There is a rapid growth, gradually rapid growth is there for the students who seek their studies in psychology. This is an useful subject to all. Now, in this first unit, we are going to deal with introduction, meaning, nature, and scope of psychology. Psychology is said to be legitimate child of mother philosophy. Psychology is, in another terms, an offspring of philosophy. The meaning of the word psychology. When we hear the word psychology, automatically some preconceived idea is there in each and every one of our minds. Now, general understanding is one side, the textual understanding is at our hand now. Meaning of the word psychology. Etymologically, the word psychology is deriving from two Greek words, psyche and logos. Psyche means soul and logos means a rational course or rational study. Therefore, it is understood as study of the soul. But later on, there were some questions. What is soul? How are we to understand it? How can it be studied? These questions were not answered. As a result of that, there are a group of ancient Greek philosophers who reject the concept of psychology as study of soul, and they propose psychology as a study of mind. Later on, this study of mind too faced the same questions. What is mind and how it is studied? How can it be studied? Here they too failed to answer to these questions. Later on, another group of people said that psychology is the study of consciousness. William James, by name, in his book Principles of Psychology, he defined psychology as the description and explanation of the state of consciousness as such. Later on, William Wundt and his disciple Edward Bradford Titchener defined psychology as science of consciousness. According to them, the task of psychology is to describe and explain the state of consciousness. To explain this through the instrumentality of introspection is possible. Introspection is the process of looking inward. Explaining and describing the state of consciousness is what is proposed by William Wundt and Edward Bradford. What does it mean? The consciousness, I'm conscious of now what is happening in and around me. Certain things fall into my mind. I'm completely conscious of that. And what I'm conscious of that, I'm giving an explanation. I'm giving an interpretation. I'm trying to describe what I'm aware of, what I'm conscious of. And this awareness and this explanation and interpretation and describing of the state of consciousness is what is meant by psychology by William Wundt and Edward Bradford Teichner. Later on, even though it seems to be some closer to the right understanding of psychology, still this definition also was rejected. Why? There are three deficits. There are 3 points for which this definition was rejected. Reason 1, it does not talk about subconscious and unconscious activities of the mind. As we heard, it speaks of the consciousness of the mind, conscious activities only. Therefore, it fails, it doesn't talk about unconscious activities and subconscious activities of the mind. Number 1, reason. And reason number 2, introspection method for the study of conscious activities of the mind proved to be subjective and unscientific. Yes, introspection is related to one person, looking into oneself. And this is not scientific. This is also subjective. For this reason, this definition also is rejected. And the third reason is that it does not talk about the consciousness of the animals. It speaks of only human consciousness but not animal consciousness. Later on, another group headed by John B. Watson, he is the father of behaviorist school, and he and his followers defined psychology as a study of behavior. From 19th century, it is interpreted as study of behavior. The first person to describe psychology as study of behavior is William McDougall. In 1905, in his book Physiological Psychology, he wrote, "Psychology may be best and most comprehensively defined as the positive science of the conduct of the living creatures." In his second book, which he published in 1908, the name of the book is Introduction to Social Psychology. He added the word behavior to his definition. Later on, he published another book, namely The Outline of Psychology, where he defined psychology as a science which aims to give us better understanding and control of the behavior of the organism as a whole. So here they consider behavior as the study of psychology. Walter Bowers Pillsbury, an American professor, in his book Essentials of Psychology, which he published in 1911, defined psychology as the science of human behavior. John J.B. Watson, the father of behaviorist school, defined psychology as the science of behavior, taking into account human as well as the animal behavior. We remember the group of people who supported psychology as study of mind They gave a preference only to human behavior. It was not inclusive of animal behavior. But J.B. Watson, who is the father of behaviorist school, proposed psychology as the study of behavior both of human beings as well as animals. As we saw, some of the accounts defining regarding the subject psychology clearly reveals that the meaning and concept of this subject has frequently changed its shape based on its dependence upon philosophical and scientific thinking. Commenting on this, Woodworth says that psychology lost its soul first, then its mind, and then it lost its consciousness, and it has behavior of sort. Although even at this final stage there seems no agreement over universal definition of psychology, yet the definitions may generally be viewed to center around a common pivot of behavior. Consequently, it may be concluded that psychology is a science of behavior. In other words, a scientific study of behavioral activities and experiences. So, the behavior, as we see, some propose psychology as study of soul. Soul, what is soul? And how it is to be studied. It is just an abstract concept. It is not reliable to do any studies on that, to give any concrete definition on that. Later on, study of mind, it was said. But still, it was concising the different opinions in the flow of the time. As the time ran by, different opinions, different definitions were given by different people about psychology. Concising all of that, Woodworth says, first psychology lost its soul, then its mind, then it lost its consciousness. It still has behavior of sort. What it means? Everything he concises. Beginning, psychology was considered to be study of soul, which was rejected because it is not liable for study. Under examination, experimentation, it is not possible because soul is an abstract concept. It is not tangible. It is not realistic. It's only an abstract concept. Therefore, it is not liable for experimentation. It is not liable for checking. It is not liable for test. It is not liable to give a concrete explanation about soul. Therefore, later on, mind was interpreted as study of mind was interpreted as the psychology. This also faced the same problem, was rejected. Later on, study of consciousness was proposed. This too was rejected. Later on, according to the behavioristic school, they proposed behavior. Behavior is now most widely accepted definition. Study of behavior as psychology is most widely accepted definition because behavior can be studied, behavior can be explained, behavior can be experimented. Looks little surprising. How? How is it possible? We come to know later on classes how behavior can be studied. First, in this context, what is behavior? There are certain questions which come to our mind in this context. As we say, psychology is study of human behavior and animal behavior, inclusive of all behavior of all living organisms. In this context, we need to understand what is behavior. There are two questions which come to our mind in this context. First question, what is behavior? And the second question is the nature of psychology. Is it a science? If it is a science, what sort of science it is? Now, the meaning of behavior. Any manifestation of life is activity, says Woodworth. And behavior is a collective name for all these activities. To be precise, behavior is a collective name for all the activities. A set of repeated actions we can call as behavior. And these actions include three elements. There are three elements in this action. Every action has got three elements. One is cognitive or motor activities, cognitive activities, and the third one is affective activity. What is motor and cognitive activity? It refers to all the physical activities, what we do with our body, with our bodily actions, bodily movements, what we do, all that come into this category of physical activities. All these activities come under the category of motor or cognitive activities. The second one is cognitive activities. Cognitive dimension, cognitive activities. This is including of intellectual capacity. Some of the cognitive activities are thinking, reasoning, and imagination. This is including of the intellectual activities. And the third one is affective activities like feeling happy, sad, angry, all that. The behavior includes not only the conscious behavior and activities of the human mind, but also subconscious and unconscious activities. Consequently, it covers not only overt behavior, but also covert behavior involving all the inner experiences and mental processes. And the third point, it is not limited to the study of human behavior. The behavior of animals, insects, birds, and even plants is also covered the subject psychology in the subjects called psychology. Therefore, when we talk about the study of behavior in psychology, we mean to study the behavior of all living organisms in all walks of life. In nutshell, the term behavior refers to the entire life activities and experiences of all the living organisms. Now, the nature of subject psychology. What is the nature of psychology? Is it a science? If so, what sort of science it is? It is an accepted reality that the nature of the subject psychology is quite scientific. This fact has been properly recognized by the eminent psychologists and thinkers, as may be inferred out of the definitions of psychology given by them in earlier pages of concept psychology. However, let's try to demonstrate why the subject psychology should be called as a scientific. In general, we may call the nature of subject scientific if it fulfills the following criteria. I simplify it and say, whether psychology is a science or not. If it is a science, what sort of science it is? Whether it is scientific or not. If it is scientific, whether the criteria for something to be scientific, is it fulfilled, is applied for the subject psychology or not? What are the criteria that must be fulfilled for something to be scientific? So also, what are the criteria that we need to keep in mind to say psychology as scientific? There are 8 rules, regulations, basing on what we say something to be scientific. Now let us see whether these 8 rules, 8 norms are applied to the subject called psychology. First one, it should possess a body of facts and is able to support it through universal laws and principles. The second one, it emphasizes on search for truth. It must search for the truth. The third one, it does not believe in hearsay, story type, stereotype, and superstitions. Hearsay belief is not a basis for something to present, to accept as scientific. Hearsay knowledge is just passing by, not reliable. It is not a basis for something to declare as scientific. The fourth rule is believe in cause and effect relationships, controlled observation, and scientific approach. The fourth one is it believes in cause and effect relationship. What is the cause and what is the effect? This is another rule, another norm for psychology to be scientific. The fifth one is it adopts methods of objective investigation, systematic and controlled observation, and scientific approach. The sixth one is stands for the generalization, vulnerability, and modification of the observed results or reduced phenomenon. Seventh one, it helps in predicting the future developments. Eighth one, it is able to turn its theory into practice by having its applied aspect. These are the 8 rules. Yes, as we see, psychology is trying hard from time immemorial to be scientific. Now we see here on the board a simple question. Psychology, is it a science? What kind of science psychology is? There are 2 categories of sciences. One is positive science, other one is normative science. Positive science is physical, life sciences. And normative science includes logic, philosophy, and ethics. Positive psychology speaks of the facts, what is, and it has no concern about what ought to be. It gives the theory and it speaks of the rules and norms and regulations to be followed. Now, keeping in mind psychology, what sort of science it is, we can divide all the sciences into 2 broad categories, positive and normative sciences. While physical and life sciences are termed as positive sciences, the subjects like logic, philosophy, and ethics are included in the category of natural sciences. Psychology, in this sense, unquestionably falls into the category of positive sciences. Now, as we know, as we heard, there are 8 steps which must be applied for something before declaring that to be scientific. So also, these 8 principles, once they are applicable to psychology to prove it as scientific, only then psychology is accepted, is declared as scientific subject. Nature of psychology is quite scientific and not philosophical or mysterious as supposed to be considered days gone by, in the days gone by. Like sciences, it believes in the cause and effect relationship. It utilizes observation, experimentation, and other scientific methods for its study. It possesses a universal accepted body of facts and believes in the modification, alteration in its principles through the future researches and findings. However, it is not so perfect and developed as a science as the other natural and physical sciences are. In fact, it is developing behavioral sciences that is trying hard to become as much objective, exact, and accurate as possible to be on a par with developed sciences. Therefore, it is termed as a developing positive science, not as a science but a developing positive science of behavior.